How's it going, everybody? It's Stas here. So the Chinese stocks are getting absolutely hammered today. It's a bloodbath out there. It's very freaking ugly. So in this video, we're going to talk about why this is happening, my thoughts on everything, and of course, I want to go over what I'm doing. Am I buying Chinese stocks, selling my Chinese stocks, staying away from them? So sit back, relax, go down below, snag your $50 free from M1 Finance. All you have to do is use my link, deposit $100, and we each get $50 to invest with. And if you guys don't like M1, you can take out your 100 and that $50 free you get from them and enjoy that money. And you could also check out my Patreon if you want all my real-time moves. That is also linked right down below. So let's get into it. Today, pretty much every Chinese stock out there, and there's so many to name, we're not going to talk about all of them today, but pretty much all of them are getting slammed. We have Alibaba down 7%, Tencent is down about 9%, we have Baidu down about 5%. What are some other ones here I have listed? We have TD, the ride-sharing company, which isn't doing that bad today, but it's been down like crazy the past couple of weeks from $18 to $8. We have, did I mention JD.com? I probably did, but we'll talk about it again. JD down 9%. And like I said, the list goes on. There's so many companies out there whose stocks are getting destroyed today. So why is this happening? It's happening, quite frankly, for many reasons, which we're going to talk about in today's video. I have a crap ton of notes right here. You probably can't see it on my iPad, but needless to say, we're going to be talking about why the heck this is happening. So Chinese stocks are broadly getting hit, like I said, because there's a lot of fear around mounting over the intervention and regulation from the CCP. These include Beijing's putting restrictions on ride-sharing giant recent IPO Didi, which we just talked about, is down from $18 down to $6. So there's a lot of restrictions there. And earlier, a couple months ago, Alibaba was fined about $3 billion, which at the end of the day for Alibaba, that's not too crazy, but it just shows the power of the government over there. And another thing I've been hearing, and I kind of agree with this, what we're seeing over in China is kind of them flexing their muscles, showing that they have the last say at the end of the day. They're the power and, obviously the power in office. They have, it's really just the CCP at the end of the day. They are very, very strong. They're flexing their muscles. And we've seen a lot of craziness very recently over the Chinese education businesses. Chinese regulators, if I can talk, guys, on Saturday published reforms that will fundamentally alter the business model of private firms teaching the school curriculum, as Beijing aims to overhaul a sector it says has been quote-unquote hijacked by capital. The new regulations ban firms that teach school curriculums from making profits, raising capital, or going public. And there's two in particular. Those companies are slipping my mind right now, but they were down a crap ton today. You thought Baba, JD's down a lot, 7, 8, 10%? No. These education companies out of China, they're down like 20, 30% last time I checked, and this is pretty crazy. I mean, they're pretty much restricting them from making money, raising capital, going public, and Friday was already a bloodbath for this sector in both Hong Kong and the U.S. after the document leaked to social media. So this has just been very rough out there, and U.S. stocks are also threatening to delist these Chinese companies. The Department of Defense published an entity list with several stocks it said would be delisted from American exchanges for acting as agents of the Chinese government and military. So there's potentially spying. I'm not sure what the heck's going on. Obviously, I'm just reporting here what I've been reading and researching myself. And on top of that, look, A lot of these companies, sure, they get audited by companies in China and companies here in the U.S. as well. But at the end of the day, some of these Chinese companies, they could be fraudulent. I mean, you guys saw what happened with Luckin Coffee about a year ago, a couple months, whenever that was. You know, I'm losing track of time. But Luckin Coffee, LK, you guys saw what happened to them. They were botching the numbers. I mean, this stock was like $50, then it crashed all the way down to $2. So there's a huge risk with Chinese stocks, from regulation to obviously the CCP coming in, US delisting these stocks, and of course, maybe some of the numbers are fraudulent, which is why when you're looking at Chinese stocks, you got to see who is auditing them. You know, if no U.S. companies are auditing them, that's a big problem, which is why I don't really invest in more of the speculative Chinese stocks. I'm really looking at one in particular, which we'll talk about later in this video, so make sure you guys stay tuned. And if you guys are enjoying the video thus far, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I do appreciate all of you guys out there supporting the content and watching the content on a day-to-day basis. You guys are freaking awesome. So at this point, and by the way, if these U.S. exchanges delist the Chinese companies, right, they will still be obviously on the Chinese exchanges, and I might make a video in the future going over what that would entail. It's too much to talk about in just this little video I'm making, but let me know in the comments if you guys do want to see that, the risks of delisting, that I can make a separate video on it. So let's talk about now my thoughts on everything and kind of what I'm seeing here. And I want to quote a Warren Buffett quote. I don't want to be cheesy or corny or be that guy that just throws a Warren Buffett quote out there, but there is this saying that buy when others are fearful, right? And sell when others are greedy, or something like that. You've heard that quote. And I truly believe that this will blow over. You think I'm crazy for saying that? You might. But I feel like with all of these, you know, negatives being thrown at the markets in terms of Chinese stocks, from regulation to delisting, I feel like this will blow over. I mean, we've seen this happen in the past with these companies. And at the end of the day, if you're focusing on the giants out there, Tencent, Baidu, Alibaba, JD, these companies, in my opinion at least, and sure I could be wrong, these companies are legitimate. They're not fraudulent. I believe their numbers are not botched. And if I'm wrong, whatever, I'll lose money. But I truly believe that these companies are legit, right? And I don't think that they're going to be delisted. Sure, they could be delisted. This is a risk I'm taking. But for me, guys, in my personal opinion, I feel like this is a buying opportunity for the strong names out there. And I want to talk about one in particular here, which is Alibaba. And if you guys are in my Patreon, you get all my buys and sells, call outs, a morning update video, a bunch of exclusive content. I went over how I started buying Alibaba recently in my long-term account in the low 200s. You know, I started buying at 205, 204, 207. And now after this video, I'm probably going to go buy a little bit more now that it's down 7%. And quite frankly, this is a company, and I'll pop up my Safari tab very quickly, so bear with me, guys. This is a company that I truly believe is undervalued. And I was reading an article earlier that was saying that this could potentially be a value trap. You know, Alibaba, you should stay away from it. And that's another thing I'm noticing. There's so much fear-mongering around the Chinese stocks. That is something, to me, I'm seeing this, and I want to do the opposite, right? I want to be a contrarian here. I'm seeing all the fear, all the craziness, which is legitimate, sort of, but I feel like it's a little over the top, especially because this is a legitimate company. I'm seeing a lot of fear out there saying it's a value trap, it's over for these stocks. That to me is a buying opportunity, right? That to me is something that I want to go against. And if we look at Alibaba here, notice how the PE ratio, price to earnings, which is simply the price of the stock divided by the earnings per share, or you can do market cap divided by total EPS. or the total earnings for that year rather, and that will calculate the P ratio for you. And right now it's 22. And if you guys take a look here at the crazy growth we're seeing on Alibaba, let me make sure you can see what I'm looking at. You sure can. Look at this from 2012 to 2021. Look at the second row here, revenue growth. We saw 213% in 2012, 75% year after, 53%, 43, 27, 47, 72, 41%, 30%, 51% in 2021. This company is growing the top line like crazy. Gross margin is also growing like crazy, guys. And this is just a business that is growing like crazy. It's growing through the roof. And for it to be trading at a price to earnings of a 22 is just ridiculous. That is cheaper than companies like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Target, these companies that aren't growing much at all, but they have a huge PE. It's just crazy to me. Alibaba is growing like a weed, and the PE is so low. If we look at the price to sales, which is also a valuation metric I look at, price to sales is 5, which is just laughably low. I mean, it's not as low as some other companies out there, but again, when you see a growth rate that Alibaba is experiencing right now, it should have a higher price of sales and a higher PE, but it just doesn't at this point, which is why I'm thinking, based on those brief metrics, this is undervalued. And sure, we could look at a discounted cash flow, we could do all that, but this video will be too long. But just let me tell you, I've done my research, I've done the projections here. If you buy Alibaba at this level, and I'm not telling you to do that because there's a lot of risk, and quite frankly, I'm not a financial advisor, but if you do that, over the next 5-10 years, if these growth rates stay at 30, 40, 25, 50% some years, which I believe they will, maybe not 50%, but 20, 30%, there's going to be a lot of returns when it comes to this business, this stock, if you're willing to hold it, which is why, exactly like I said, I have been buying this company, and I'll continue buying it. And the way you mitigate risk with stocks like this that have a lot of bad news, there's a lot of red, they're falling week after week. The way you do this, guys, is you dollar cost average. You don't go in all at once. At least this is my opinion. I don't do that. You buy, let's say, little chunks every week, every 2 weeks, every month, and you ride it down until you build up your position and until you're comfortable with your position, and you hold on from there. And that's kind of what I've been doing here. And again, I just started buying this, so I mean, there's a lot more buying to go, and I'll be continuously buying as it gets lower in the hundreds here. So that's just my thoughts, guys. Those are my opinions. We talked about some brief thoughts there, kind of some valuation metrics, what the heck's been going on. Now, I'd love to know your opinions. Let me know down below in the comments. And if you guys enjoyed the video, smash the like button, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and check out my Patreon. If you guys want all my real-time buys, sells, call-outs, whether it's short-term trades, long-term investments, option moves I'm making, that's on Patreon. And you also get, if you sign up to the top tier, a morning update video every day going over breakout stocks, earnings, news, and so forth. My watch list every morning, that is on Patreon, link down below. And don't forget to get your $50 from M1 Finance. Simply deposit $100 using my link, and we each get $50. So go enjoy all that. Link down below. I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks for tuning in again, as always. Keep crushing the markets, guys. Good luck out there. Stay safe out there as well. Peace out.